In this video we are going to take a look at the transport that GW keeps trying to shove into combat patrols, the Impulsor. Are they a bargain or just inflating the combat patrols? Over the course of the video, we will first quickly go through the mentioned combat patrols as well as a full datasheet review. In the second part, we will then look into what makes them special for Black Templars as well as potential use cases in the Deathwatch. Lastly, there will be some advanced assembly instructions including magnets and LEDs as well as a quick wrap-up.
Welcome to SwissHammer, your channel for modeling in Warhammer 40k. My name is Temmer and I will be guiding you through this video.
A while ago, I did a video covering the upcoming Combat Patrol mini-game mode in 10th edition and how it potentially makes those boxes one of the most future-proof investments for the time being. Link to the full episode is in the description. Two such combat patrols, the generic Space Marine one as well as the Blood Angels one, include an Impulsor. While I voiced my displeasure about sneaking an Impulsor into a Phobos-themed box like Combat Patrol Space Marines, the big irony here is that I think both these combat patrols actually have very good infantry models for the Deathwatch, and given the overall discount on these boxes, even ending up with a transport that would not see much play could still be worth it. Having said that, let's have a look at the datasheet in question. Thanks to the latest Monitorum Field Manual points rebalance and the matter of free wargear, the Impulsor has become quite affordable. For 100 base points, we get a transport capable of carrying 6 Primaris models, excluding Gravis and jump packs, with a movement of 14 inches, toughness 7, 11 wounds and a 3-up save. By default, it is equipped with 2 Stormbolters that could also be switched to 2 Fragstorm grenade launchers, and we can then also add a free Iron Hail Heavy Stubber, as well as pick one of the following 4 wargear options. A shield dome for a 5+ invul save, an orbital comms array able to call an orbital barrage, and then basically 2 more weapons in the shape of either a Balicatus missile array or an Iron Hail Skytail array. For 100 points, that's a fairly solid package. What further stands out is the assault vehicle ability, which allows the Impulsor to disembark its cargo even after it made its move. I think any Deathwatch player would want this kind of rule to exist on the Corvus Blackstar. But anyway, given the comparably slow nature of regular Primaris units, I think this transport plus assault vehicle rule make for a potentially great addition. During the opening, I briefly mentioned Black Templars, and I just wanted to point out here why I believe that they currently do Impulsors best. Not only do they get the option to run a multi-melta instead of the Iron Hail Heavy Stubber, free of points of course, they can also get a 5+ invul save across the army from one of their wows. This means that they potentially end up with an Impulsor at 100 points that has a multi-melta, a shield dome equivalent from their wows, plus then they get to pick one of the 3 remaining wargear options on top. That's a lot of bang for the buck. If you happen to play multiple Space Marine chapters and you end up getting a combat patrol to potentially expand multiple armies, I think I would just run the Impulsor in Black Templars while using leftover models from either combat patrol for the Deathwatch. Having said that, I think there can still an argument be made for running an Impulsor in the Deathwatch. In this particular case, we won't get a multi-melta of course, and it is recommended to run the shield dome for the 5+ invul save, as we'll want the transport to be as durable as possible. While both the Spectres and the Indomitor kill team are out of question, we want the former to screen, and the latter won't fit anyway. We could for instance fit the Intercessor half of a Forest kill team with Outriders into the mentioned Impulsor. That aside, in case we are running a slow unit like Blade Guard veterans, these would also fit nicely into an Impulsor to be delivered to their destination as fast as possible. But even once an Impulsor has deployed its cargo, it can then also be used as a roadblock and to soak up fire. a pretty solid investment for 100 points only. Then ultimately, I think that 10th edition potentially has more use for vehicles again, so I would personally recommend to keep that spare Impulsor handy for whatever might happen in the near future. With basic rules and tactics covered, let's have a look at some modeling recommendations. The great news here is that all loadouts can be magnetized, and there is in fact both a hard and an easy way to do it. For anyone who owns at least one Gladiator tank, remember those spare parts after the assembly. The reason for this is that the Gladiator tank basically comes with a full Impulsor sprue plus additional weapons for the Gladiator. This means that we'll have access to spare parts for building additional copies of the 4 special wargear options: the shield dome, the orbital comms array, the Bellicatus missile array, and the Ironhail Sky Talon array. As visible on the picture, this will result in requiring no magnets at all. If you don't have a Gladiator laying around, then the matter becomes far more difficult on the level of doing the missile loadouts under the wings of the Corvus Black Star. Still doable, but much more of a headache. On the bright side of things, the side guns as well as the Ironhail Heavy Stubber is pretty much a standard magnet job. Me personally, I wanted to push things a little further and install a bunch of LEDs. For this, I repurposed the Master Grade Barbatos Gundam Lightning kit from Evans Design, which comes with 1 green, 1 blue and 5 red nano LEDs. While the red LEDs go nicely with the thrusters, the interior light, or even the multi-melta in case you're going Black Templars like I did in this specific case, I think the green one makes for a nice front light, and the blue is perfect to create the hover effect underneath the transport. The battery component is then placed in the forward compartment of the tank, and if you don't glue the rooftop part, you can easily detach it again in case the battery needs to be exchanged. As always, doing a lights test before the final assembly is recommended, and don't forget to cover all LEDs before applying the primer. To wrap things up, over the course of the video, we have looked at the Primaris transport that GW just keeps shoving into combat patrols, the Impulsor. As we now know that combat patrols are here to stay and will even get their own mini game mode in 10th edition, is this the perfect opportunity to grab either a combat patrol Space Marines or Blood Angels? Well, I certainly think that the recent Muniturum Field Manual put Impulsors in a very good spot at 100 points, with all wargear being free, and while I think that Black Templars do it best due to a combination of free multi-melta, plus the potential to get a 5+ symbol safe across the army, I would not discourage anyone trying to run one in the Deathwatch. Either the Intercessors half of a Forest Kill team or Blade Guard veterans would pair really nicely, and what makes this transport great is that it has the assault vehicle ability, allowing a disembark after a normal move. But even after its cargo has been delivered, I think an Impulsor can still do a good job acting as roadblock or soak-in mortals. Furthermore, 10th edition might have a few surprises regarding vehicles in store for us, so we might as well hold on to this particular kit in case we have one laying around or it happens to be included in a combat patrol. Then for the actual assembly, the good news is that everything can be magnetized, and it is a lot easier in case you also happen to have a Gladiator kit, in which case we get a bunch of essential spare parts for the Impulsor along with that. So that's it for assembling and making good use of an Impulsor in 9th edition. Did you guys end up with this transport from buying one of the mentioned combat patrols, or were you always planning to run one anyway? Any good strategies you like to share with the rest of us? Let me know in the comments. Then finally, if you made it this far and I still have your attention, if you like my content, any additional support is greatly appreciated as it helps me invest into future videos. For that, I have both a Ko-fi as well as a Patreon page, links are in the description. Furthermore, I would also like to mention that there is a SwissHammer Facebook page where I will be posting links to my videos as well as articles I find of interest. I do read a lot about the hobby, but not all of it will always end up as its own video. I look forward to seeing you there as well. As always, thank you very much for watching, guys. Your continued support is greatly appreciated. I hope you have been enjoying this video. Give me a thumbs up if you did, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done so already. Thanks again and see you next time.